So guys, overall pretty good day today. It's busy day. Didn't really sleep that well yesterday because right before I was about to fall asleep, I was woken up. And you know how when you're waking up like that, it's very hard to fall asleep again. But after an hour of trying, I took some melatonin, I think, that I got 2 years ago because I had a similar sleeping problem 2 years ago. So I took it and bam, I was knocked out cold like that. But even though I feel kind of refreshed in the morning, like halfway through the day, I was very tired. And in the afternoon, I just wanted to fucking go to sleep. And by the time I got home at night, when I'm about to cook, my eyes are about to close, just like they are right now. But anyway, today I talked to one girl on my way to the school. I was in a rush, so I didn't stay and talk, even though I feel like she would have been more receptive. But it looked like she was waiting for someone outside the motel. But anyway, today I want to talk about how your perception of someone can easily change how they interact with you. And I know this because of pickup. I remember back in the days when I was about to talk to that girl, if I had a mental image of her acting weird or be like, oh, what the fuck, then it's gonna become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and she's gonna act weird because I'm the one who was acting weird. I was projecting it onto her, and in turn, she reacted exactly the way I wanted to. And this is so key. People will react to you the way you want them to. And how do they tell? It's all by the way you're behaving. It's all in your sub-communication. It's in the little facial expression, little tenseness around your eye, a little tenseness around your forehead, and maybe a little tenseness around your lips, like you're trying to smile but you're forcing it to smile, and you kind of want to go and talk to them, but at the same time you kind of backed off as well. It looks like you're holding back, and this goes for all your social interaction. And I say this today because today I had a tutor who last time I feel like he was kind of bringing me down, that kind of vibe. But then today, and I know he didn't mean to do that, but my ego can't help but feel hurt and kind of angry towards him, and just kind of overall don't wanna talk to him and wanna be close. I just feel like my heart want to be closed off towards him, but I know I'm projecting some kind of wrong reality on myself and on him. I know my perception of this person is distorted, and I'm sure that he's usually very fun and a good teacher according to all my friends. And it's very easy to go into this mode of like, oh my god, this teacher just doesn't like me. And I'm sure you probably have heard that from some of your colleagues, some of your friends. Oh, my boss just doesn't like me and all that. But what you have to do is snap out of it. It's not real. And even if it's real, that kind of mindset, that kind of belief is not going to help you. So for the past couple of days, whenever I think about my tutor or this specific tutor, I just reframe everything positively. Like every thought, every negative thought I have, I stopped it the moment it appeared, or rather I just let it go. I don't consciously force it to stop. It's kind of like a skill you learn in meditation. You just let it go, and then you start thinking about positive things that he will do for you and he will do with you. And no one means any harm towards you unless you want them to. And that might sound fucked up, like why would I want anyone to hurt me? But hear me out. When you want someone to hurt you, when you want someone to hurt you, what you're gonna do is you're gonna act defensive, you're gonna act cold, you're gonna be rude. It's like a defense mechanism we all have inside ourselves. And now I think about it, it's also the way that we talk to, it's also the way that we handled our emotion when we were a kid. Because if you think about it, when you were young and when you made a mistake, or when you break the glass, or when you are in trouble, and your parents were telling you to behave, they were punishing you, and what's your first emotional response? You become quiet, you become cold, you kind of become rude, and you just don't want to talk to them. And you carry that same kind of emotional behavior into your adulthood. And that's why you can see some adults that behave like immature little kids, because they haven't really grown up yet. They're still responding to an adult world with the response of a 5-year-old child. So next time you encounter a similar situation where you feel like you're being attacked, or you feel like someone is telling you off, punishing you for blah blah blah, even though in reality they might be trying to help you, they might be trying to, lighten up the mood, but it might come across as offensive to you. You have to take a step back and realize that this is not what the reality is. And you have to look at it very objectively. And a good exercise you can do is meditation. Look at all your thoughts objectively and look at your situation objectively. And on a macro scale, look at your life. Look at your life story objectively and look at where you're fucking up. And look at how you could do it better. Look at what kind of patterns you're doing every day that's fucking you up. And the reason I do these videos these days is because I realize that I'm kind of sometimes when I'm talking to people, talking to girls, I can't help but feel like I need to be more expressive, have more leadership vibe, and be more congruent when I talk. And the only way I could train myself to do this without actually going out, even though going out is probably the best thing you could do to train yourself to do this, you can still do this at home. And it's by doing these kind of videos. Just be free of expression, be free of expressing yourself. And I also want to talk about two of my, I guess, old best friends. I know them since high school actually, but we didn't really get to know each other that well until our first year of university. And I remember our first year was very tough because we all trying to get into medicine, dentistry, and all the hard out courses. So we had to study all the fucking time. And the year after, two of them, they decided to live together and they share the same room. Now at that time, I kind of feel betrayed that I was the only one who were left out. But then looking back, I'm kind of glad because those two did not get along with each other when they were living together. Like one of them is doing pharmacy, and another one is doing biomedical science because he really wanted to get into dentistry or medicine. He just doesn't want to do pharmacy. And I feel the same way too. I was doing the same course as him because I wanted to get into dentistry. So there were a lot of pressure on both of us. Since we didn't get in the first year, the pressure is on. Like, you have no idea. When you fail the first time, it's very hard to get up the second time and crush it again. But the good thing is we did. We did fucking crush that year. We got like 6 A plus out of 7, and that was fucking good. Probably the best year in terms of my academic, but in terms of my social life, I literally had no social life in that year. But anyway, back to the story. Those two did not get along with each other, so they were always fighting about some very petty shit. Now that I look back and think about it, like this guy will complain about the other guy who was just laughing and watching funny YouTube videos and be kind of distracting. Or he will sleep really late and wake him up. Or I don't know, or he'll be cooking or anything. Like, you can find fault in anyone if you look hard enough. And when that becomes your habit, when you complain too much, you have to step back and think that maybe I'm the one who needs to change. And I have to say, both of them living together broke their friendship because even now, like 5 years later, 4 years later, they barely spoke to each other. They probably haven't spoken to each other for 3 years. And, at that time, I feel like I had to kind of pick a side, but I decided not to, and I feel like I was cheating on both of them. Like, I was the little mistress who was seeing both friends. Because this friend would keep talking shit about the other guy, and at that time I feel like I kind of agree, because I just wasn't as conscious as I am today. So at that time we're both like making fun of him or telling or think that he doesn't really have an ambition or just think that we're above him. But in reality, it's all subjective. We're just pumping our ego up, and for no good reason at all. But I was still friends with the other guy, and we still talk to each other sometimes. Whenever I go back home, we will catch up and have a good time. And even though they don't talk, I feel kind of sad that they don't talk to each other anymore. But my point is, even now, this guy still haven't forgive the other guy, because in order to forgive, you need to really tell them how you feel. You can't just kind of ignore them and say, okay, I forgive you, but I will never talk to you again. That's not forgiveness. That's running away from your anger. So I feel like if they both talk to each other and just say how they feel, even if it's anger, then I think they could become friends again. But I think that will be very hard, especially for my friend, for both of them. to kind of come clean with each other's feeling. But anyway, right after I got into dentistry, that's also about the time I was starting to look for ways to kind of get a girlfriend. Because I always thought that once you get into dentistry, everything else will kind of fall into place. But that was not true at all. That was not true. And I could tell you this because I've been there. If you think having money, having status will get you the girl, it won't. It will get you the girl's parents, but it won't get you the girl. And you don't want the girl's parents unless that's what you're going for. Unless her mom is above, but different story. Even if her mom is above, a MILF. Even if her mom is a MILF, you still need to be more. Still need to know how to do this. Still need to know how to game. So anyway, I remember my second year. My first year I got into dentistry. I was very shy. Like even in my class, I was kind of afraid to talk to girls. And it was after like not doing anything about it for a month. I googled how to text her or how to get girls, and the first website I showed up was Girls Chase, and I recommended Girls Chase to you as well. It's a very good website about girls. It can get kind of analytical, too much details, but I feel like my results really improved when I started watching RSD. The inner game stuff, the stuff that tells you how to behave based on principles rather than little techniques. And I found that really helpful as well. I've been thinking about changing glasses. Now I like these glasses, but I wish that because I remember when I went to pick out glasses, my uncle was there. And at that time, I was thinking, how can I save the most money for my parents? So I picked the cheapest frame possible, even though at that time I really wanted this other one that kind of looks much cooler. But anyway, I guess glasses don't really matter when it comes to girls. I mean, only first impression, really. At the first sight, first 10 seconds. Then after about a minute, the girl can kind of figure out what kind of person you are just based on the way you're behaving, based on the way you're talking, and maybe a little bit of what you're saying, but that usually doesn't matter. I found that you can crack jokes with lines that don't even seem that funny when you write it down. You know? Sometimes I don't even understand how humor works. I feel like humor works only because when you think it's funny, it's gonna translate onto the other person. But that doesn't mean stand-up comedy. That's why I think stand-up comedy is a skill, because on one side you need to have good content, but on the other side you need to know how to deliver it, and you need to really believe that it's funny. Like you think it's funny, that's why it's gonna be funny. But anyway, I think that's enough rant for today. I feel like my voice is straining today, straining to get loud today. I feel like my energy is very constricted today, even though it was kind of expensive in the morning. I guess my mouth is just too dry. Anyway, that's it for today. See you next time.